Howdy folks, welcome to the channel. Today we are taking a deep dive into the newest DVC resort, the Fort Wilderness Cabins. Now, unlike in the past when Disney has unveiled a new DVC resort, there's been lots of information, lots of posting, but unusually this time, Disney has been very secretive with points, cost, changes, all sorts of, kind of the meat and potatoes, so to speak, of what involves this new resort. So today I'm going to be doing a deep dive into all of your questions. We're going to be talking points, we're going to be talking incentives, we're going to be talking annual dues, everything that you want to know but currently don't know. So you're not going to want to miss 1 minute of this video. Go ahead and grab a snack, a cup of coffee, and let's get into it. So something that was really interesting about Disney unveiling the cabins is that I feel like everything was really secretive. Like, I got an envelope in the mail and it was just lots of pictures and just descriptions of things I already knew. Like, it was talking about the different restaurants, shopping, entertainment things at Fort Wilderness, but nothing actually said like how much, how much per point, what are the incentives. So, let's kind of just get into it. So starting right off the bat, the current cost per point at Fort Wilderness is going to be $225. If you compare that to the other DVC resorts that you can buy into, Riviera and Alani are going to be $225 per point as well. And then the Disneyland Hotel over in California is actually the highest at $239 per point. So as of February 1st, the DVC cabins have now gone on sale to current DVC members. If you decide to add on to your current DVC membership by purchasing points at this new resort, you can begin to make reservations starting February 15th. Now, in order to add on to your current membership, you have to purchase at minimum 50 points into the new cabins. And that's going to leave you at around $11,600 if you want to pay up front. Now, typically when Disney unveils new resorts, they do have incentives. The incentives do not begin until you purchase at minimum 100 points. The current incentive at that level is $2 per point, making it the lowest incentive currently offered by DVC. You can still buy memberships at Disney Alani. You can also purchase from Disney's Riviera and at the Disneyland Hotel over in California. The Riviera and Alani, their lowest incentive is also 100 points, but it's $8 per point. Disneyland California is currently $7. So like I said, the cabins currently are only $2 per point and you have to purchase 100. So you're looking at about $22,000 if you want to begin to get those incentives. And that's of course before processing fees and documents. Typically it's around $250 for them to work through the documents and then another $150 for processing fees. Your annual dues are going to be based upon how many points you purchased. So the higher points, the higher dues. Currently for the cabins, you are going to be paying $12 per point for your annual dues. So if you add on to your current DVC membership by purchasing at minimum those 50 points, your annual dues are going to be around $600. Now, currently for the annual dues, it's based off of 76 cabins out of the total 336 total cabins that Fort Wilderness has right now. Disney has not released or told us how many total cabins will be converted to DVC cabins, or if all of them are going to be one day. So it is absolutely possible that the annual dues can go up in the future and absolutely can change depending upon how many cabins are converted. Now, the projected opening for these cabins is going to be July 1st. And when they first open up in July 1st, it's only going to be one loop of cabins that are officially ready for guests. They are still going to be working on renovations and getting all of the cabins up to speed. So this being said, if you do choose to add on and you want to be one of the first to stay in the cabins, you may not be able to because we still don't know how many cabins are actually going to be available when they officially open in July 1st. Now, of course, if you add on points, this will be considered one of your home resorts and you will have an 11th month booking window. If you don't add points on to this resort, then you'll have a 7-month booking window where you can book into the cabins. Now, let's say that you are not a current DVC member, but you're interested, you want to add points at the cabin. Currently, if you want to become a DVC member, you have to purchase at minimum 150 points. Now, with the current incentive, that means that your membership is going to be around $33,000. Now, it's important to keep in mind that this price could change and go up in the future. So right now, the incentives that they're offering end in April. So if you're new to DVC and you want to join, if you purchase into the cabins after April, that $33,000 is probably not going to be there anymore, and it's going to be more expensive for you. If you are a non-DVC member, you're going to be able to purchase as of February 27th, and then you're going to be able to begin booking the cabins as of March 12th. If you purchase the minimum points of 150, your annual dues are going to be around $1,800. And then if you're already a DVC member and you're not looking to add on, you're going to begin to be able to book at the cabin starting March 19th. If you're not a DVC member, but you want to begin to book these cabins, you will be able to as of March 20th if you're an annual pass holder, and then March 21st if you're non-DVC and non-annual pass. Now, I do want to leave a little caveat here that DVC members can begin to book the cabins as of March 19th if you're not purchasing, but you can only book the cabins through cash or paying for them. You're not going to be able to use your points to book the cabins until April 23rd. Now, there is one major difference to these new cabins over previous DVC resorts. So in the past, when you would buy into a particular DVC resort, you would be given an official property deed. And so it's kind of like if you were buying a house or buying, you know, a condo, something like that. You would actually have a real estate property or interest. And if you ever wanted to sell, it would be just like if you were selling property. However, Disney is moving away from property deed sort of management of DVC memberships to now be under a trust service. So with this being said, instead of you having a deed, you're going to be buying interest into a particular resort. You can then apply that to stay at that resort. So to be honest, this is the first time that Disney has ever done something like this. So we're not entirely sure what implications or what impact this will have on DVC resort guests. So far, Disney has said that there should be no issues with this. It will be a normal experience or similar to previous experience as guests who currently have deed memberships. Now, we also don't know if this is how Disney is going to be conducting all future DVC memberships or if this is just a Fort Wilderness thing. One thing that we are sure of is that this new trust interest will certainly be beneficial to Disney. So however that plays out, one thing that's for certain in previous, memberships, if a member, let's say, fell behind on their dues or their monthly payments, Disney would then have to go through a process of foreclosing on that membership because it's a real estate property interest. But now with it being a trust, Disney no longer has to do that. So if a member fell behind on their payments, they could just take it back. So now that we've talked through a lot of the math and a lot of the kind of nitty-gritty, so to speak, I think it's important for us to talk about what is the appeal of the cabins? What do they contain? So overall, the cabins are defined as 1-bedroom cabins that can sleep up to 6 people. They're going to have 1 queen bed, 2 bunk beds, or I guess I should say 1 bunk bed with 2 bunks. And then they're also going to have a pull down queen size bed. Disney has been doing a lot of these, and in particular, a lot of the deluxe studios where you have a couch and then it pulls down from the wall like a Murphy bed. It's also going to have a full kitchen, and then they're going to have a bathroom. With the bathroom, you're going to have 2 sinks. And then one of the sinks is going to be separated from the commode and the shower, and then the other sink will be in there as well. You're also going to have your own private porch on the front part of your cabin, equipped with a picnic table and 2 chairs. Now, one of the nice things about the cabins is that you're going to be able to pull your car right up, and you're going to have a parking spot right in front of your cabin. So unlike when you stay at other DVC resorts where you park in the parking lot and then you're walking to your cabin, or if you get lots of groceries at the local supermarket and you're lugging them to your room, with the cabins, one of the benefits is that you're going to be able to park right in front. Something unique about the cabins as well is that a select few are going to be pet friendly. Now, currently pet policy states that you can only bring 2 dogs and only dogs. No other pets are permitted on premises. There is currently no breed or weight restrictions. Current pet policy for other Disney resorts allowing guests to bring dogs is currently $50 per pet. Disney has not released if there's going to be a higher charge for these new DVC cabins. And they've also stated that the pet availability may change at any time. So because they only have certain cabins that are designated for pet use for safety for guests that suffer from allergies and such, that means that if you book a cabin, let's say, 7 months out and you're thinking, okay, you want to bring your pet, it could be that as you get close to that date, Disney could say, hey, actually, we don't have any pet cabins available. So just keep that in mind, that you have the potential to bring your pets, but it's never a promise or a guarantee. And then also be rest assured that if you are someone that does suffer from very severe pet allergies, or maybe you just don't feel comfortable being in a room or a cabin where pets have been, there are separate cabins that are used for guests with pets and without. So when it comes to booking the cabins, they are going to be starting at 15 points per night, which in my opinion, there are deluxe studios that can only sleep up to 4 guests, and the base price is going to be more than 15 points a night. When you compare the Fort Wilderness cabins to the Copper Creek cabins and even the Polynesian bungalows, Copper Creek and the bungalows can sleep up to 8 people. Fort Wilderness cabins can sleep up to 6, and the Polynesian bungalows and Copper Creek cabins are technically 2-bedroom versus 1-bedroom. But when you compare the amount of points it takes to stay at a bungalow versus a Copper Creek cabin, you're looking at over 100 points per night for each of those, in comparison to only 15 points a night. And if you do have a larger party and you're all not going to fit, you could very easily book 2 cabins. If you pick one of those times when it's an off season, when they're only 15 points a night, you could rent 2 cabins and only be spending a total of 30 points. So I would say that overall, if you do have a larger group, or maybe you typically go to Disney and you stay at a deluxe studio because of how much points cost, you are going to be able to stay at the cabins, which technically are like staying in a 1-bedroom suite, for a much more economical and lower point count than if you're even staying at some of the deluxe studio villas. One of the nice things of staying at Fort Wilderness as well is that you are still going to be considered as staying at a deluxe Disney resort, and you're going to be able to take advantage of all of those benefits. So that means early park entry, extended evening hours, and then with Fort Wilderness being also a Magic Kingdom resort, you're going to be able to get right to the MK through boat transportation that's going to pick you up at a dock. You're also going to have a boat that runs between Fort Wilderness and Wilderness Lodge, which is super convenient if you want to hop over there to participate in some of the activities or even to dine at the restaurants. And then if you're going to be going to some of the other parks, you're going to take bus transportation. But if you're staying at one of those main Magic Kingdom resorts, you're kind of at the center or the heart of the Walt Disney World Resort, and it's just going to be a short drive to get to Disney Springs or the other resorts or water parks or theme parks. So overall, guys, do you think this is a good deal? Do you think the current incentives, the cost to, join is worth it? Now, I would say that I think it's interesting that the current incentive is starting at $2 per point. Now, I think this tells us one of two things. Either one, Disney feels like the cabins are going to be very popular and a lot of people are going to want to buy into this resort, so they don't need to make the incentive super spectacular because so many people want it. The other potential could be that Disney is not in a rush to sell lots of memberships for the cabins, and they're okay with having memberships be available to purchase years from now. I think, you know, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, it's interesting that Disney's Riviera and Disney's Aulani are still available to purchase. Disney's Grand Floridian recently just went off the market of being fully sold on membership. So I think it is interesting that out of all of the resorts and even out of all of the unveilings that we've seen, this has been the lowest incentive. So I think it will be interesting to see how it all pans out. I'm also interested to see if the current cost to stay in the cabins is going to significantly increase. The current cabins at Fort Wilderness are around $490 on average. So with these new renovated cabins, I wonder if you're booking online, you know, through the Disney World website, you know, if you're not using points and you're just planning on booking one of these cabins, if there's going to be a significant price difference between renovated versus non-renovated. I can assume so, but I'm interested to know what that cost will be. My guess is that if you stay in a typical deluxe studio resort, you know, it's around $600 to $800 depending upon the view and then the location. I'm also interested to know if we're going to have different tiers for the cabin. So far, all that we're seeing from the points charts is one flat rate. You know, we don't have cabins that have a different amount of points based upon location and things like that. So it should be interesting to see if things like that change in the future as well. I see a lot of potential for this resort being really good to use your points towards because it doesn't cost that many and you have so much more space. Like I mentioned, if you typically stay in a deluxe studio. But let me know in the comments below. I'm really interested to hear everyone's thoughts. You know, let me know if you're a current DVC member or if you're not. And you know, or maybe, you know, you were like me and, you know, I grew up going to Fort Wilderness. I used to camp in an RV with my family. So when I heard about the cabins, I was really excited because I was like, yes, I can go back to Fort Wilderness again and even have a DVC membership there. But I would say with the current cost per point being $225, you know, with there not really being that high of an incentive, and then the whole transition of moving away from an actual deeded property to now a trust, there's just a lot going on. So for me right now, I think I'm gonna wait and see how things play out, but I absolutely do wanna stay in the cabins one day. Well, if you guys enjoyed this content, please make sure to let me know by leaving a thumbs up. Comment down below. Like I said, I would love to hear from you guys. And if you enjoy content such as this, make sure to subscribe so you always stay up to date when I post. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.